Hey everybody, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Got an early morning vlog update for you. Obviously not getting a lot of sleep as we get ready for the storm, and because of the pretty, I would say, rather dramatic changes to the track. Overall, the track you would think is a major shift. I think it's because the impacts have changed pretty dramatically for the Charlotte area, and I'll get into that and what those impacts mean. But I'll tell you, just give you a hint, it's about rain and flooding. Please don't focus on wind or any other threat right now, but flooding for our area, especially Charlotte. Now, the coast, all threats are on along the coast, but for the Charlotte area, I want you to know that the threat is increasing for flooding rain. So here's a look at the system. It is a powerful hurricane, Category 4. There's nothing in the next 24 hours that is going to slow this thing down or weaken it at all. It's likely going to maintain Category 4 strength, could briefly become Category 5, but it's not going to matter. Category 4 is going to cause a bunch of issues, pushing a lot of water towards the coast. You can see the circulation is actually spreading out in the upper levels. We've got that outflow channel starting to develop, and this storm is heading this way, pushing all of this water towards the southeast coast. So storm surge and tides are already coming up in many locations along the coast. Let me show you a combination of the forecast, the models, and the wind swaths. First, I'm going to show you the models here, and I'll show you some other ones here. This is basically the spaghetti plots. Notice how they are now not as scattered. They all come to the coast and stall it right here on Friday. So in 48 hours, the storm is barely going to move. That's why the wind threat inland has gone down, especially in the western Carolinas, because the storm is going to sit on the coast and weaken. And then the guidance brings it southwest through North Carolina and then starts drifting it up this way through early next week as a remnant low, tropical depression. It doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be a big old rainstorm, and that moisture is going to be pumping up into this region. So the thing to remember with this system, and here's another view of it with all the warnings on, is you got to remember that storm can still be anywhere within that cone. I took off the center line and everything just to make it simple to understand that that storm could still track up here. It could actually still track down here, and I think maybe even track down here. So this southern track, this loop like this, is becoming very, very likely with this storm. Pretty much all the models are showing the same solution now. So we actually have some agreement, even though the agreement is just bizarre. It's rare, if ever, you see a storm move southwest. And that's what this storm is now going to do. It's going to stall here. And then you can see this is the 51 member ensemble from the European model. They're all together. They're not spread out like they were. Yeah, there's a little spread, but for ensembles, that's a pretty tight clustering. And so the net impact that this is going to have, and I'll go back to this map, is that once this storm gets near Wilmington right here, it's going to stall. So you can see it might not be on land there. It might not make landfall there. It might actually be in the Grand Strand now. So just to put a timeline in this, this is 2 a.m. on the 15th. Okay, today's the 12th. So you're talking about, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, it still could be offshore, okay? And then coming ashore sometime on Saturday at 2 a.m. I mean, it's insane to think about this, that this could be lingering here into Saturday, and then it moves over here by the 17th. So it is not in a big hurry. Now, because it stalls near the coast, and it's going to be weakening over time, those winds aren't going to be able to get to Charlotte. Here, yeah, the winds, not only are they going to be there, they're going to be there for days. There's going to be, now they won't be Category 4 winds, trust me, but the initial winds will be Category 4. They'll weaken each day, but it'll be several days of being battered by the strong winds. Now, what this does for the rainfall, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to put this into motion here. Let me move it. This is the number one problem. The storm gets to the coast and stalls, so this is Friday morning. We start to see impacts. And then in Charlotte, mind you, it might not even be raining on Friday morning, but there'll be rain along the coast. We go to Saturday morning. Okay, this is Saturday morning. It's pouring rain out here at the coast, big time flooding. It's not even raining in Charlotte, 1/10 of an inch. Sunday, it starts to move into Charlotte. We start seeing heavy rain Saturday night into Sunday as the heavy rain spreads in here. And then as we go into Sunday, into Monday, some of the worst weather starts to move into Charlotte. So Sunday is like when the worst weather is likely going to move into the Charlotte area. And look at some of these totals out here. We're pushing 30 inches, and that isn't even through Tuesday and then Wednesday. Okay, so we're talking about a long event of rainfall. Now, as far as wind is concerned, the wind threat, there will be some, but the maximum winds may only be 25, 30 miles an hour. Now, that would be enough with wet soil still to bring trees down. I got to emphasize this. This is about rain, rain, rain. Flooding, flooding. Think Harvey type flooding in parts of the Carolinas. And even in Charlotte, I don't expect Harvey type flooding, but this 9 inches of rain in a 7-day period is going to cause some big time issues. Now, it won't rain that entire time. This will come in waves. There will be big lulls and there'll be flooding. So this will be an ebb and flow as far as rainfall. It's not going to rain the entire time. There will be surges of rain. But here on the coast, you're talking about state record rainfall, which used to be 24 inches, could be obliterated with 30 to 35 inches of rain. And just to hit home on the fact that this isn't a big wind event so much for the Western Carolinas as it is the coast, it's a rain event. I'm going to show you the wind speeds as the storm approaches the coast. So here we are going into Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. The storm gets close to Wilmington. Look at the winds start to weaken with the system. Now they do spread out a little bit. We do have gust here, 20, maybe 25 miles an hour. 30 to 40, maybe 50 miles an hour, and then 70 to 100 mile an hour winds right along the coast. But the storm, even at the coast, weakens because it's going to be interacting with land. There's going to be upwelling of cooler water. And so the storm sits there and weakens and then drifts to the southwest and pushes into South Carolina. And you can see how those rainfall totals will be an issue. So the storm could be way down here. The winds never really get very high up here. The flow of moisture coming off the Atlantic is what's going to be driving in all of that wet weather as we go through the weekend. And in the mountains, big time mudslide and debris flow set up here with these eastern facing slopes getting clobbered. So I will update this graphic as much as I can. This is the 7-day rainfall forecast. I'm going to go on closer here so you can see it. Just so you know, that's 30 inches of rain here, up to 10 inches of rain into areas of the Sandhills. And I'd say probably in the 8 to 10 inch range, if not higher, in parts of the Western Carolinas. So this is it, man. This is going to last through next week. So we've got time to prepare for this because of the stalling and the slow movement. It's not really going to impact us to the weekend. Today's Wednesday. You've got till the weekend, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday next week. So it's a Saturday through Tuesday kind of window here where the weather's going to be bad, and it'll come in waves. So this is a long event. This isn't going to be one and done. We're going to see this for several days. So prepare for flooding. You don't need to evacuate the Western Carolinas unless you're told to because you're in a floodplain or there's a mudslide or something. You stay put because where would you go? You're going to go to another area where there's probably going to be flooding. You just don't evacuate because of flooding. Or because of rain. You do evacuate because of flooding. Remember back in May when we had 5 days of a flood watch? If you didn't evacuate then, you're not going to evacuate here. So you're going to be okay staying. You just need to be ready for rising waters in creeks and streams, trees coming down, knocking power lines down. That would be why we lose power, not because of the wind, but a tree coming down in loose soil and taking a power line with it. So there will be scattered power outages, but that won't be our biggest issue. There could be some scattered tornadoes. Certainly going to keep an eye on that. We won't really know until that day. It's kind of a last minute kind of thing where they form. But flooding, and rain is our biggest deal. So focus on that now and stay weather aware. There still could be changes. This has shifted a lot in the last couple of days as it's made landfall. In a stalled system, we don't know where it's going sometimes because it's not moving very quickly. So pay attention to the weather into the weekend. I will post updates throughout the day.